JBH Boutique Care offers you a unique exclusive membership in our nationwide concierge medical services network. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Judine Bontemps-Hill. I'm double board certified in family and obesity medicine. We pair exclusive personalized care with accessibility and convenience. A better way for you to receive immediate quality medical care. Whether at our main Orlando, Florida office, traveling across the U.S. or visiting the States, we bring you the best medical care without waiting for an appointment. Become a member today by calling 407-234-5282 or visit us online at jdhmeg1.com. JBH Boutique Care is proud to sponsor Sounds of the Diaspora, music and conversations with artists, and host DION PARSON every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Soars TV Radio Network, WTSN, Washington, D.C. JBH
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining me. This week's episode of Sounds of the Diaspora, Artist to Artist, a conversation with yours truly, DION Parson. Thank you for joining me. It's really an honor, pleasure to have our guest tonight. This is someone that I've been in touch with for a while, working on different projects, and finally got her to join us here at Sounds of the Diaspora. Please join in and welcoming me, vocalist, educator, composer, the one and only Miss Tammy McCann.
Hey, DION, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
You're more than welcome, Tammy. How you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. I've gotten a lot done here in Chicago. My daughter just graduated college, so I get to take a breath right now and spend some time talking to you.
Congratulations. That's a major milestone.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful, beautiful thing. I love your mural behind you. That's nice.
Thank you so much. This is actually maybe 8 feet tall. It's these 4 panels that was was painted by a beautiful artist. Her name is Lauren Klopek. Here in Chicago, and it's 4 panels, almost maybe 15 feet by 9 feet, and this is the first time I've ever been able to hang it in my house because there was no place that was really big enough. But yeah, this is one of my favorite pieces.
Oh, yeah, it's beautiful.
Thanks.
I was admiring when you first came on to have such a beautiful background. So all these beautiful things going on in your life, you're well-versed, accomplished, and doing some wonderful projects. And that's where you are now. But our audience would like to know, how did all of this come about? It just didn't happen overnight. So share with us, Tammy, growing up as a young musician, how did that happen?
Really by people seeing, dreaming a bigger dream for me than I could have dreamt for myself. I grew up like many kids, grew up in church, St. Paul Church of God in Christ here in Chicago, and, sang in the choir like most kids did, and, didn't really think a lot about, my contribution. I didn't know that music would be part of my path until I met Reverend Dr. Lena McLin at Kenwood Academy. Lena McLin, she's a crafter of voices, from Mandy Patinkin, Mark Rucker with the Metropolitan Opera, and the list goes on and on and on. And she saw something in me that I said, she said, well, you're going to be a singer. And I was like, okay, well, can I sing like R&B music? And she was like, no, you're going to sing like Leontine Price. And I said, who's Leontine Price? That's a reoccurring theme you'll find in my musical journey. And so I was not super excited about it, but in those days we did what we were told. And I said, yes, ma'am. And I started practicing and really became something that was so completely a part of my life. I did my first opera when I was 15 years old, Cavalleria Rusticana by Mascagni. And so throughout that time, I sang in Italian, French, German, and Miss McLean really was laser focused on crafting a classical voice. And that was my everything, was my entire life. And she was able to navigate me into a scholarship for classical voice off to college, HBCU in Virginia called Virginia Union. And it was there I was continuing my classical journey until a chance meeting in a practice room.
Okay. It changed everything.
It changed everything. I mean, really everything. This young man was playing, and I just tapped on the door and I said, what is that? I thought it was experimental classical music. And he said, no, this is Thelonious Monk. And I said, who's Thelonious Monk? And that was completely turned my life upside down. The song was Round Midnight.
Okay.
So hearing that, now my parents weren't jazz people. So I didn't know who Ella was, who Sarah, Dinah. I didn't know who any of these people were. Ellington. And so when I say I started this journey completely from scratch, it was completely from scratch. And there are still songs that I hear all these 20 years later, still songs that I hear that, I get so excited, like, oh my gosh, guys, I heard this great song called So What? And they're like, Tammy, that.
Yeah, because you started a little late also as well.
Right. I was like, oh, this is such a great song. And everybody's like, oh, everybody knows that song, Tammy. And I'm like, well.
But the good thing is you were in it. You were in it. You weren't in the jazz genre, but you were in music.
Yeah.
Which it's a solid foundation.
Exactly. I think that we all need. I tell my students all the time, classical foundation. You can do and you can play anything.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. If you understand that, because there's some classical musicians that just that's it. That's their only direction. But it's a very good foundation. But so you got influenced. You got your first taste of jazz, and it became influential. So what happened after that? What?
Just one blessing after another, one marvelous teacher after another. I graduated from the University of Von Freeman.
Okay.
Von Freeman, NEA Jazz Master, Von Freeman, took me under his wing and really explained to me the process, because I loved the songs, but my apparatus was crafted for classical music. And so he steered me in the direction of, this is how you want to, this is how you want your tone to sound, match this horn, listen to this horn. I want you to match that sound quality. And so I need you to control that vibrato. And he was so patient. And my voice was so big. Now, remember, I was like the Ethel Merman of jazz. It was like, and so just learning how to control it and understanding the different physiological processes that needed to happen in order to authentically approach the music. The last thing you want to do is sound like a classical singer trying to sing jazz. And so that's always been my goal. I've often felt like this like this little imposter. Like, I can't believe that I'm here playing with the likes of folks like you and, John Clayton and, oh, my brain just stopped working. Fareed Hawk and, Russell Malone. I mean, the fact that I get to work with individuals in this space is just a blessing.
And you've worked with some giants, I mean, across the board. Many folks don't know this because, but you were Raelette.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's a blessing right there, to be on the stage with the amazing Ray Charles, doing what you do for all those years and just touring and traveling. And that's a school in itself.
Absolutely, absolute masterclass. And each one of the people that I was able to perform with taught me something so different and yet so important. From Mr. Freeman was Mr. Ramsey Lewis. Ramsey really, I did my first record in the United States with him, his Urban Nights 3. He had a list of many different Urban Nights records that he did. And so I was on Urban Nights 3. And so from him, I learned about, approach and, crafting a story. And from him, I went to become a Raelette. And one of the things that Mr. Charles would do is he was present. He was present for every performance, and to the point to where, every night, I mean, it's Ray Charles, this iconic master. And so you would think, maybe tonight we're doing show number 26 or we're doing show number 50. Every night before the show that we would get an authentic list from him. So he thought about he thought about the crowd, he thought about the connection with them, and by his own hand, he created the set list every night. 20 minutes before the show, we got it. And also, he would leave it all on stage, how many encores they wanted, however many, times they wanted him to perform something. He knew the songs that this particular audience wanted all over the world. He always poured into them. And then also about musicianship. So coming into be a Raelette, I had to learn 26 songs. So, I mean, it's Ray Charles. So you figure a third, already, a third you're familiar with, and then, you'll learn the others. But initially he brought me in as a first soprano.
Okay.
But by the time we got to the show, he wanted to change me to first tenor. And with 6-part harmony, that's like this much room between it. So I had like 2 weeks to learn all the songs, which turned into 3 days to switch to a different key. I mean, a different space altogether. And he was very adamant that rehearsal is not where you come to learn the songs. Right. Rehearsal is where we come to figure out, how do we get into it? How do we get out of it? What's the magic that's going to happen between us? And so that's something I've taken really seriously over the years, about, being prepared and showing up for not just yourself, but you show up for the music. Yeah.
You do your part, and then you start at a certain level. If you come in not knowing your part, then you got to start at ground zero. He's absolutely right.
Exactly. Now we all got to sit around and wait for you to learn the song, And so he said, just show up prepared. You don't have to get ready.
Right. Exactly. Great lessons. I mean, these are the things that take us to the next level. Yeah, that's beautiful. Absolutely. So I'm so happy hearing this story. It's really beautiful.
There's lots of stories.
I know. And we don't have that much time because there's other things I wanted you to talk about. But so you were, being a Raelette, you switched from being an opera singer, and you're in Chicago working with all of these greats. and doing your thing. When did you decide to become a leader yourself, or like, put your own project together?
I think that was always, it was always there. The interest was always there. It was having the confidence and the knowledge. One of the things about here in Chicago, when I was coming up, it was really baptism by fire. And I and my fellow musicians of my era, we all would talk about, how there was no showing up unprepared. You would literally, nobody would say, oh, well, maybe next time. Right. In real time, you found out that something was wrong. Yeah. I remember there was this marvelous saxophone player here in Chicago. His name is Duke Payne. Duke could play jazz bagpipes. I've never seen anything like it. Some of the most amazing musicians here in Chicago. And so I'm singing, and I start and they say, okay, well, you want to do a solo? So I'm doing my solo and trying to scat. And so here comes Mr. Payne. He's just playing me off the stage, like walking towards me with the saxophone, walking into me, moving me off.
Wow.
Like, no, nobody's doing that. We're not doing that right now. And I was like, okay. And I thought I missed my cue. Like, oh, was I not supposed to come in there? And he was like, yeah, you didn't come in. You didn't come in properly. So go think about that some more.
Right.
And I went home and I thought about that some more, and I didn't get played off, the next time. And so, I mean, we were only given 1 or 2 chances to get it together. And it's a lot different now.
It's a lot different now. I mean, I was having this conversation with some of my students at home, and we showed up for a rehearsal like 2 weeks later for a different gig. And I said, oh, by the way, let's look at this song. And it was like, oh, we didn't learn that. I said, but 2 weeks ago, I mentioned the song, you didn't know it. I said, when I was coming up, if somebody mentioned a song and you didn't know it, they weren't going to ask you again. The next time they saw you, they just were going to call it, expecting you to have done your homework. And they were like, oh, we didn't know that you wanted us to go learn the song. You didn't tell us to go learn the song. I said, that's what I'm saying. I shouldn't have to tell you. If we're having this conversation about a song and you don't know it, that conversation that's me telling you to go learn the song.
That's the heads up.
The heads up.
That's the heads up.
But, again, we learn a different way too, and information wasn't just given to us a certain way. A lot of things was just dropped on us, like, hey, go check this out, and that was all that was said. And you have to figure out what checking this out meant, or what part of what happened that you need to check out. So a lot of those key gems, I call them gems, that's not happening anymore. It's either like, you sound good, go practice some more, you come back next week, and you weren't invited back. It's like they saw you come, they saw you the next week, then they figured you figured it out. If they didn't see you, then you didn't figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, just the shedding. And then also, as a vocalist, I was really spoiled by these men. John Logan, God rest his soul, amazing pianist. And with Mr. Freeman, they just knew every song in every key. And, they just transpose on a dime, right? And so oftentimes they would say, vocalists, how do I say this? Us being inconvenient guests to the bandstand. So do you know that in the original key? And Mr. Clayton, John Clayton, God bless him, he would say, the original key is whatever key I'm singing it in. Right. Whatever key she's singing it in, that's the original key. And I was like, oh, I just love you, Mr. Clayton. But one of the things that's not always the case, it's not just for vocalists. A friend of mine was playing with Sonny Rollins, and they had brought in another instrumentalist. I forget whether it was a guitarist or a saxophonist, but he had gave him the songs and, the keys. I don't know if they just start playing or they listed the keys, but for whatever reason, the chart was in, say, C, right? And he started playing in a different key. And at first it was kind of a little train wreck, and then it kind of worked itself out. And so Mr. Rollins was like, "What's up?" And he was like, "Well, I learned it in this key." Well, you're supposed to know it in every key.
Right.
Just like you said, that expectation, like, right. What are you talking about? So it's different, but I think if we're clear with this, with the new generation, that they'll come around. It's all in the shed.
It's all in the shed, yeah. But Sonny was known for playing things too different. He played blues to all 12 keys. That's so if you're gonna play with him, I had the pleasure of playing with him, so I know what it was like. A song would go on for 40 minutes. Play all 12 keys in those 40 minutes, and you just have to follow the music. That's what it's really about. Follow the music, right. And then, like you say, do your homework. Go in the shed. So
do your homework.
But you have to be committed, and again, you have to be willing to. You have to be teachable. That's part of it.
Teachable. That's true. That's true. A lot of people think they got there already.
Yeah, they think they got there already, and they don't want to be teachable. When I first came to New York in 1990, the apprenticeship process still existed. I remember hanging out with AT and the Michael Carvins, my mentors, and different folks that and they would just drop this knowledge on you and recommend, hey man, you should, this has happened in Harlem. You should be part of that. You should, go check these things out and do that for like 3 years. And then you'll be ready to move on to this. And they could see from the scene, the different tier levels of how things were set up. And it took me a minute to see that also. And that doesn't happen anymore. Really, like all of the cats, they're going through the education process. Hey, I got a student that'd be good for your gig. And it's that learning, that apprenticeship stops when the student graduates, because they go out there and they're now in the scene. And that's when it should be started, when they get on the scene.
Well, see, that's why it's so important to have the cats in the classrooms.
Right.
Right. There's this disconnect, where between academe and the bandstand.
Right.
And, everybody that's in the classroom isn't necessarily, equipped to be on the bandstand. And so the kids need to have both worlds,
right.
And that's why, your kids are so lucky, because you're actually in it. You're in it every day. And so you not only give them the theory and the composition, but you also give them the etiquette of the bandstand.
Yeah, it's needed. It's needed. It's really needed. But there's a lot of great educators out there, musicians that's doing it as well. I mean, there's some great programs that's happening around the country, and I applaud all of those guys for doing their part. So we'll continue to support and make sure that we encourage. We don't want to discourage. We want to encourage, but at the same time, we want cats to be encouraged in the right stuff. So
exactly.
It's really important to keep the music going the right way. But that being said, you've put out some great music, and I think it's time for our audience to really check out who you are. From if they haven't gone and Googled you, because sometimes while we're doing the show, people are Googling and checking their own thing out on the side. But you've done some really nice projects and amazing stuff. And you've crossed some borders. I mean, again, you have the operatic foundation, studying the jazz with all of the masters, but the gospel is very important to you as well. So we're going to check out all of these different sides of Miss Tammy tonight. So we're going to start off with a song from your first U.S. album called Candy. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, Candy. That record was such a beautiful opportunity. A gentleman here in Chicago by the name of Kevin Beauchamp had an independent label, and he happened to see me perform and, really believed in me and said, this is something that I think is really natural to you. And I want to support you. Let's do a record together. And so I pulled together some of my dear friends musical friends. And this was my first record here in Chicago, well, here in the United States, called Classic. And I just chose tunes that really spoke to me and that I felt really connected to. I had just gotten married. And so Candy, that was for my husband, Naeem.
Okay. That's the story behind the song.
There's always a story behind the song.
All right, well, let's check it out, Candy.
Candy, I call my sugar candy. I'm sweet on candy. Candy, he's sweet on me. He understands me, my ever-loving candy. He's always handy when I need some sympathy. Oh, I wish that there were more of him, so that I can have that much more of him. He has taken my complete heart, so I've got a sweet tooth for my sweetheart. Candy, 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 candy. Oh, life would be so dandy. If I can take that candy and make you mine, oh
So you're smiling. I know that brings a smile. So bring a smile to you all the time, huh?
You know, that was the amazing Mr. Ari Brown on saxophone. Yeah. Oh my gosh. When I tell you, just the blessing of it all. I mean, I was like, Mr. Brown, would you mind playing on my record? He said, sure. He saw so much. He gave me so much advice, such kindness, such support, and I just love him to pieces. He's unbelievable.
Well, it's really resonated with the audience because someone said that you're amazing. Somebody said, "Oh my God, this reminds me of the great Lena. Every bit as sultry." So,
thank you so much.
Bring it home, baby. So bring it home, baby.
I was so nervous about how to communicate the music. And it's interesting listening to this song now in comparison to all, here we are 20 years later, and how unsure I was about my sound. And it seems as though it was there and I went a completely different direction only to come back and find it again. That's something that was running through my mind as I was listening to that.
Right. Yeah. And again, the control of your voice is really great. And you can hear that you have a really beautiful foundation doing what you do. And the storytelling, I mean, when you hear songs today, pop songs, I'm just going to put it out there. They're so revealing. It just tells you hey, this is what I'm going to do. And it's just, but this Candy, when I first saw it in the lineup, I was like, Candy. And then when you explained the story, my imagination started to work. And then I heard the lyrics and I was like, yeah, this is beautiful. It's an adult song.
Grown folks music. That's my next record. That's Mr. Stanley Crouch. God bless his soul. Amazing mentor of mine. And he said, Tammy, you need to do a record called Grown Folks Music. I said, that's going to be the next one, Mr. Crouch.
There you go. That's beautiful. You just keep pouring them out and doing your thing because you're telling a beautiful story. And it's with grace too. That's what I love.
Thank you. Well, we're so lucky. We're so lucky to be able to create the fabric of people's lives, all this music, all these stories. And that's how I see them. I see them as like these little folk tales that each generation gets to set to music in their way, and to keep it flowing. And so who knows how we'll gift it to the next generation and then how they'll tell the stories,
Great. Well, we're going to continue to tell your story with your next song entitled You Ain't Gonna Love Me. So
So this was the second album with Beauchamp. He was really connected to, as the diaspora, of the music and what it means. He was a wonderful writer. And he said, Tammy, I have an idea for this song. And this is when I was gifted to my next mentor, Mr. Henry Johnson, guitarist Henry Johnson. With Vaughn, and I forgot to mention his brother, George Freeman, who's a guitarist. That is when I began this love affair with the tenor saxophone and the guitar. So I've often done work that is guitar led or saxophone led, tenor saxophone led. And so Henry Johnson, marvelous guitar player with, Joe Williams, Nancy Wilson, Ramsey Lewis, in his records in his own right. And he's also based here in Chicago. But I knew that he was the person to lead this record. He was so bluesy and so completely Chicago in the sound. Chicago jazz, it has a crispness to it. It's different than LA. It's different than New York. There's this underpinning of blues and jazz and this juke joint feeling. And that was completely Henry. And so I had to stalk him. He was not having any parts of me. I was like, come on, Mr. Johnson, would you please do this record with me? And so Henry and Beauchamp and I wrote this song. It's a story of, it's a never ending story of, you know, it seems like you kill yourself, you do everything you can for this person, and they still don't see you, they still won't act right. And so Beauchamp said, what's the point? You ain't gonna love me anyway.
Right.
So we wrote that, and this is it.
All right, let's check it out. You ain't gonna love me.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Why should I write you letters? Why should I try to change? Why should I say I love you every day? I have tried to make you happy. I have tried to change my way. I have tried to do everything you say, but you ain't gonna love me. You ain't gonna love me. You ain't gonna love me. Anyway, I think we can make it better. I think we can work it out. But I can't be in love, oh, by myself. I have tried to talk it over. I have tried to make it right. I have tried, but there's no more left to say. You ain't gonna love me. You ain't gonna love me. You ain't gonna love me, no. Anyway, I can climb the top of a mountain. I can beg on bended knee. I can turn night into day. Why go through these changes when in the end you ain't gonna love me anyway? I think you might be crazy. I think you lost your mind. I think you better go on your way. You ain't gonna love me. You ain't gonna love me. You ain't gonna love me. Hey, 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 hey. Anyway, you ain't gonna love me. Anyway, why should I wait for you to come around to my way of thinking, come around to my way of being? You ain't gonna love me anyway. I think that might be a one-take baby.
I forgot all about that. I forgot that they
left that in there at the end, huh?
because it was we did it in one take, and we were all like, "What? Did we get it? Did we get it?" And then they decided to keep that, but that was Ernie Adams on drums.
Okay, nice.
Mike Logan on piano.
Mike.
And marvelous Harrison Bankhead, God rest his soul, on bass.
That's and it's in 5/4. This I would, that's a nice one. That's
actually when I first learned how to count in that time.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, and so it was Ernie Adams, God bless him. He's such a marvelous teacher. I've had so many patient, lovely musicians that have just ushered me and just helped me become the musician that I am. And he was practicing with me. I was like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. And I was like, but I don't understand. He was like, just laser focused, Tammy, laser focus. And as you go, it lays. A lot of people they get tripped up if it's past 4. Like it's just one extra beat past 4. Yeah, man.
Ding, ding, dong, ding, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As soon as it started, I was like, yeah, okay, this is nice.
Wasn't it great? When he said, I think you might be crazy. I think you lost your mind. Like, okay, I give up. I tap out, right? And I was like, man, Kevin, these lyrics are so great. So yeah, we had a really great time on that record.
I could tell. And one of your fans says you are the best jazz vocalist I've heard in years. You belong with Mavis Staples, both legends. There you go. So people are checking you out. They want to hear you. They want to hear what you're doing, what you're putting out there. Yeah, Ella lives only. It's you.
Please go to your local jazz club or theater and tell them, call that Tammy McCann and have her come on down here and do a show. That's what you need to do, baby.
Come on down and do a show. There you go. Yeah, that's I love it. I love it. Because a lot of singers don't venture out. They may do a 3/4, but they don't venture out beyond the comfort zone, which is 4/4. That's what I tell people. That's once you start getting in the 5s and the 7s, nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to do it. It becomes uncomfortable.
I think for me, it's all about exploration. The record after this one was called Love Stories with Lawrence Hobgood, who was masterful Grammy Award-winning collaborator with Kurt Elling, our Chicago's own Kurt Elling, and who Kurt and I actually, I met him during my origin story with Von Freeman. So he comes from Vonsky University as well, And so I had the honor of working with Lawrence, who is really known for crafting these off the beaten path time signatures and melodic moods. It's moodscapes. I call them soundscapes, and it was really the first time that I had stepped away from the swing of it all, if that makes sense. And really just he and I got together in his place in upstate New York for like 3 days straight, like almost 8 in the morning till midnight, writing arrangements. It was the best collaborative experience that I had up until that moment. And every arrangement I feel I'm a part of it, even though I didn't write the music, because he was really supportive and collaborative with me. And that was my first time kind of experiencing that type of outside the 4/4, right? In a broad way, And he was a wonderful teacher. I really like that.
Yeah, it works. We have another comment here. A lot of singers try to imitate other singers, but Tammy is singing from her heart. Tammy McCann sounds like Tammy McCann. Simply beautiful.
Don't make me cry, you people. What are you doing?
You got a lot of fans out there. You brought out the troops tonight. They're checking you out. So we're going to move on because we have a lot more music to share. And this is another song that this is from your newest CD, Canaan Land.
Yes, this record was blossomed out of COVID. All of us musicians, we lost a lot during COVID, but I think for as much as COVID took away from me, it gave me so much more. It really gave me, it gifted myself back to me as a musician. As I had said earlier, I'm a classical vocalist, and moving into jazz, it was very scary. It was one of the hardest things that I've ever done, that physiological shift. And so I was very adamant about not letting anything get in the way. Like, this is jazz. What is jazz? This is jazz. This is what it sounds like. And I've got this tunnel vision. And over COVID, I realized that jazz is me. It's this musical marinade of Mississippi and the blues and gospel, and that's okay. I don't have to sound like, it's okay to bring those ancestors into the music, bring that sound into the music. And this record is the most authentic, personal record that I've ever made. This is my 6th record, and I feel like I finally found my voice after all this time. And I just really, I don't think about, does this sound like jazz? I think about that it sounds like me, and it's the way that I want to bring the story to the people. And this particular song, Canaan Land, is a Mahalia Jackson signature song. I've been doing a tribute to Mahalia Jackson since, I'd say, early 95, 96. I've toured. The first thing I ever got the opportunity to do was to tour singing gospel music. So I led a gospel tour, Tammy McCann and the Voices of Glory, for several years. And the booking agency was in asking me, did I want to sing gospel? And I was like, well, no, I don't sing gospel. I sing jazz. And they were like, nah, I think you sing gospel too. And so I said, I tell you what, if you give me a jazz tour, I'll do a gospel tour for you. And so that begun, Tammy McCann and the Voices of Glory, and Tammy McCann and Wonder Brass, which was a tribute to Django Reinhardt, again, with my guitarist. I can't get away from him. And but Mahalia has been just a little bird whispering in my ear for my entire musical life. And during COVID, I said when I did this record, I wanted people to feel something. We have been not just in sequester away from each other. I felt like we'd really been in an emotional sequester, So I wanted people to feel love and joy. I wanted them to, feel passion and in some cases anger. There are a lot of songs on this record that reflect what was going on at the time, from George Floyd to many other things that were going on. And so Canaan Land, that's Mahalia in the space with me, bringing my ancestors into the music. And I felt like my career was really taking a shift, and I felt like I was on my way. I could feel it. I could feel it happening.
Go. Well, let's check it out. Canaan Land.
had a mighty hard time, but I'm on my way. I had a mighty hard time, but I'm on my way. I had a mighty, but I'm on my way. Lord, on my way, glory, hallelujah, on my way. I'm falling and I'm rising and I'm on my way. I'm falling and rising and I'm on my way. Yeah, I'm falling and rising, but I'm on my way. I'm on my way. Glory, hallelujah, on my way. I'm on my way. Glory, hallelujah. Woo, I'm on my way. I'm on my way. Glory, hallelujah. I'm on my way. Yes, Lord, yes,
I think that says it all.
That was Mr. Justin Dillard on the V3, and John Clayton gifted me and arranged that for me. He and Fareed Haq, that's Fareed Haq on guitar, my brother Fareed. Fareed arranged all of the songs, and John came in and just put that little piece of glisten on it, you know, because sometimes I feel like when you're self-producing, you can get in your own head. Yeah. And I needed to have eyes on my voice, you know, and I wanted to make sure that what I'm hearing is translating out there. And he came in and, you know, okay, well then do this, do that. He's such a beautiful, what a shepherd of the voice, if that makes sense. The way that he arranges, the way that he, you know, can very gently usher you into something that's more that really showcases your voice even more. And so that was really great. As a matter of fact, he had been working on some different changes, and so at the very end, when you hear me go, woo, because I had just heard I'm on way, he goes, dun, dun, dun. And I was like, oh, that's great. That's it. And so like, oh, they kept it. I was like, they always keep my crazy stuff.
That's great. That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Listen, we're cutting it close for time, but you have one more song. I got to sneak this one. So let's just jump right into this one, and then we could talk about it after. Do I Move You? Let's just jump
This is the record. This is the name of the record is Do I Move You? Fareed and I were going back and forth about what to call the record. So should we call it Southside Folk Tales? We were really deep. We were trying to come up with something. And I was driving along and the record came on the radio and I'd never heard it in my life. And I said, oh my gosh, this is unbelievable. And I called the radio station. I said, who is this? And they said, it's Nina Simone. And if you listen to the record, you'll see there are several Nina Simone moments. And it wasn't because I was seeking out Nina. It's because her music met the moment. Her stories met the feelings that I was trying to tell, right? And so that became the theme of the whole record, Do I Move You? I wanted this music to move people. I wanted it to, make them feel something.
Great. Let's check it out. Do I Move You?
Do I move you? Are you willing? Do I groove you? Is it thrilling? Do I soothe you? Tell the truth now. Do I move you? Are you loose now? The answer better be yeah. That pleases me. Are you ready for this action? Does it give you satisfaction? Are you hip now to what I'm saying? If you are, then let's start swaying. The answer better be yeah. That pleases me. When I touch you, do you quiver? From your head down to your liver. If you like it, baby, let me know it. Don't be psychic, or you blowing. The answer better be yeah.
Well, you're moving a lot of your fans out here tonight. So we have another comment. You've moved me, my God. You have moved me. Bluesy as it can get. You are incredible. That's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you so much, you guys. I really, really appreciate you shining a light on me all the way here in Chicago. I really appreciate it.
You're more than welcome, Tammy. It's a pleasure. I mean, this is what we do here at Sounds of the Diaspora. We connect the music with the folks and the folks with the music, and we tell their story. But you're doing it. I mean, I'm just, we're here at our Source Radio just creating this platform for you, but you're doing it, and it's amazing. So continue good work.
Thank you. That was Tom Viatsis on piano. Spectacular piano player. When I tell you he can play anything. And of course, Maestro Fareed Haq. I heard Fareed. I was programming a concert. I was a curator at large for American music for DuSable Museum of African American History right before COVID. And we created a festival for people to come outside and hear music because, you couldn't be indoors. And I hired Fareed, and I'd heard of him, but that was my first time watching him play. And this brother can go from classical Spanish guitar to the Crossroads in like 30 seconds. It was something that I just hadn't seen before, and it really touched me. And so I approached him about working with me, and, Do I Move You was born. And so it's really something special. We're actually thinking about doing some other work together. So keep your eyes open for a duet project with me and Fareed.
Great. So besides that project with Fareed, what else do you have on the horizon? You have a new CD out. Where can folks find it? How can they follow you?
So the CD is called Do I Move You, and it's on all platforms. You can purchase it at TammyMcCann.com. That's TammyMccann. And you can find me on Facebook, on Instagram at the Tammy McCann, and on Tickety Talk, Tammy McCann Jazz. So I'm everywhere because the music is everywhere.
Beautiful. So one last question. Are you still singing opera by any chance? Is that happening anywhere?
You know who is always asking me about that, who said, Tammy, you need to really put opera into your practice, is Miss Dee Dee Bridgewater. She heard me doing it. I think I was just playing around with it as I was talking to people, as I was talking to the folks in the audience about the music and about my past. And I sang a little bit of it, and she was like, "Oh, you need to figure that out." And I said, "So I still have to wait for the music to meet the moment." That's how I approach it. I'm not, and also because of the tutelage, you have expectations, So I mean, I'd want to make sure that it was perfect. I guess I'm a perfectionist a little bit. So the answer is maybe. I don't know. Somebody would have to help me figure it out.
Okay, well, it's a path that a number of musicians are doing these days. So
exactly.
You won't be out there by yourself. It's a good path. A number of cats are doing that. So, you would just be going along with, I think it's a blessing to be able to cover both things. A lot of people don't have that platform.
I agree. And I've always said that jazz and classical they have a synergy with each other. And the difference is that with the masters, in order to achieve greatness in classical music, you perform the masters. And it's the same thing in jazz music. You perform the masters. But what happens in jazz is that once you've reached a certain level, proficiency with the masters, then jazz says, okay, now what do you have to share? You know, so then you become, you know, one of the ancestors that are going to lead and that people are going to listen to, you know. One of the things that I have done is I've allowed the classical music that I have worked on to inform my jazz. So again, with COVID, over the years, I've started to write musicals. I'm working on a musical about Mahalia Jackson and Studs Terkel and their good friendship. I just finished a musical called Chi-Town, which is adapted from Cavalleria Rusticana, which is the first opera I ever sang. So again, all of these gifts that, you know, come out of being able to sit still. Like I said, COVID took away a lot, but for me, it gave me as much as I could ask for. Well,
you have a lot to offer, so continued success to you. I wish you every ounce of it, and you're doing amazing things, and it's been a pleasure and an honor having you on the show, and we will have you back.
I appreciate this. I really appreciate this opportunity for your listeners to hear some good music. You, my friend, are just such a gift to the community, and just thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So it's we have great things to do in the future. Not only having you back in the show, but performing as well. So we will be in touch.
From your mouth to God's ears. Thank you so much.
Yes, it's been a pleasure. That was the amazing Tammy McCann joining us tonight on Sounds of the Diaspora. So we had a wonderful time. Please tell your friends to check out the link on YouTube and Facebook if you missed the show, or if you know someone that missed the show. Next week, we would love for you to come back and join us as we bring to Sounds of the Diaspora the one and only Mr. Santi DiBriano, amazing bass player, friend, composer, educator. So we're looking forward to seeing you next week as we bring him to the stage. Take care. Have a good evening, everyone.
Boutique Care offers you a unique exclusive membership in our nationwide concierge medical services network. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Judine Bontemps-Hill. I'm double board certified in family and obesity medicine. We pair exclusive personalized care with accessibility and convenience. A better way for you to receive immediate quality medical care. Whether at our main Orlando, Florida office, traveling across the U.S. or visiting the States, we bring you the best medical care without waiting for an appointment. Become a member today by calling 407-234-5282 or visit us online at jdhmeg1.com. JBH Boutique Care is proud to sponsor Sounds of the Diaspora, music and conversations with artists, and host DION PARSON every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Soars TV Radio Network, WTSN, Washington, D.C.